We are facing what could be termed an economic disaster, a financial superstorm. Global debt is massive and unprecedented. Unemployment has soared. More lockdowns are threatened to drive it up even more. The supply chain is broken. Food shortages loom. This is what lies just over the horizon. This is Rob Palazewski, and you are listening to The History of the Future, where we look into our history to see into our future. No fake news here, just a big fat dose of the truth. Again, my commercial. Please go to atpministry.com. Stands for Absolute Truth and Prophecy. atpministry.com. Sign up for our weekly newsletter there. You can also look at old podcasts, radio shows, lots of articles, lots of stuff there. You will be blessed. And if you can bless us, that would be a blessing. Help us keep putting out the material that we're putting here. So here's where we're at. America's eviction moratorium is over. 12 million renters face possible eviction. Now in 2016, there were 2.3 million evictions the whole year. And one analyst is saying that we could reach that many evictions just in August. That would be an explosion of homelessness. Point number 2. Right now, because Congress hasn't fixed it, the unemployment benefits are slashed as of Friday, July 31st. 25 million Americans will no longer receive $600 federal unemployment checks, on top of their state rounds. Now, I get it that those benefits seem to discourage people from going back to work, but without some help, a lot of households could fail. And we're already seeing long lines at food pantries. They're back. And then, third point, we've got a dollar crisis, at least according to Goldman Sachs. And that's because the price of gold is moving up very quickly. In fact, it should have gone up a long time ago, but it was artificially tamped down. And they call gold the currency of last resort. But right now it's jeopardizing the status of the dollar as the world's reserve currency. Goldman Sachs said, combined with a record level of debt accumulation by the U.S. government, real concerns around the longevity of the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency have started to emerge. And let me tell you, folks, that ain't good for the lifestyles of Americans. And we've been enjoying this artificial lifestyle for quite a long time now. The arrangement was originally made by Kissinger with the Saudis back in the 70s, and it forced all the nations of the world to buy dollars before they could buy oil. So that has underwritten our lifestyle since the 70s until now. And should that go away, we would likely even be unable to service the massive debts that we've run up. And a lot of people have been predicting that should this happen, we would descend into the status of a third world economy. So, the World Economic Forum, they've got a solution. Why don't we reset the whole darn thing? There we go. Just in time, the World Economic Forum is calling for the Great Global Reset. And the WEF has found the heart of the problem. They tell us it's not the coronavirus. No, it's not that. They say affluence is the biggest threat to our world. Affluence. So if you're doing well, that is the biggest threat to our world, according to a new scientific report. They say that true sustainability will only come through drastic lifestyle changes. And what that means is they're going to take things from the have nations and the have people and give them to the have-nots. After all, it's only fair. Their report says affluence is the driver of environmental and social impacts, and therefore true sustainability calls for significant lifestyle changes. So what exactly are we talking about? Well, they say every country from the United States to China has got to participate. Every industry from oil and gas to tech must be transformed. They're looking at a great reset of capitalism. So instead of capitalism, what they're proposing, and they're doing it stealthily, is global socialism. We're talking about wealth taxes, additional regulations, a kind of a massive Green New Deal. That's what we're talking about. Now, the founder and chairman of the World Economic Forum is Herr Klaus Schwab, and he wrote an article on his website, the WEF's website, calling the Great Reset of Capitalism. And he writes all aspects of our societies and economies have got to be revamped. And he's talking from education to social contracts to working conditions. And he's joined, of course, in this move by Prince Charles, who is one of the strongest proponents of this. Greenpeace, Al Gore. That's what they're pushing forth here. This is a form of socialism. And they're trying to hide. They don't use the word socialism, but that is what they are proposing. Very progressive programs. And they have openly admitted that this coronavirus pandemic has created an opportunity for the World Economic Forum members to accomplish this radical transformation of capitalism. That's what they're looking at here. Prince Charles said, "We have a golden opportunity to seize something good from this crisis. Its unprecedented shock waves may well make people more receptive to big visions of change. It's an opportunity we have never had before and may never have again." This is the garbage that they're putting out there. Jack Mateer, writing in the Survival blog, says this: "The virus may not be the biggest threat, but the crisis that follows." This is how serious it is. Listen, everyday goods that keep us alive will be gone. And you know what he's talking about? He's talking about food, water, medicine, clothes, fuel. And you know who's put this together? You got to understand who the players are. The International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, UK and USA corporate banking sector. So the big international bankers, this is what we're talking about. Of course, they'll call this a conspiracy theory, but they use the COVID crisis to shut down and then reset the global economy. And part of that reset could be a great currency reset. We talked about the trouble that the dollar is in. How the dollar may no longer be the world's reserve currency. This is something that has been planned for a long time to reset, and now they have put the architecture in place to move to a completely electronic currency system. And I've read where they want to have this in place by 2025. They would be able to track every transaction in the world. The architecture is being built for this. If you followed us on earlier podcasts, we talked about how in some of the trial vaccines, they were cooperating with MasterCard, building a payment system into the vaccine that would be put in your arm, that the chip of some sort, nanobots, would be put in there. So we know that this is a real possibility. This is the architecture of the Mark of the Beast system. This is what is going on here. The virus isn't necessarily the big thing here. Jack Mateer says that it's going to be the threat that follows. He says everyday goods that keep us alive will be gone. And you know what he's talking about? Food, water, medicine, clothes, fuel. And you want to know who put all of this together? Who is running this whole show, this reset? We're talking about the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, the UK and US corporate and banking sector. They are using the COVID crisis to shut us down, to reset the global economy. They are imposing a Green New Deal. You know what this is? This is a psychological war. It's a psyop. Gary Barnett says that it's a psychological war waged by psychopaths against all mankind, being advanced by a small group of monsters that have taken control of the minds of the masses through long-term indoctrination and policies meant to breed dependency. Fear is the new weapon of mass destruction, and I agree with him. Fear is that weapon. So what we have is this. In all its aspects, from virus to the riots, this is entirely a psychological operation, designed and executed to bring in the New World Order, and is an attempt to set up the kingdom of Antichrist. And it's been purposed for generations, and we're living in the day when it's gone operational. We are living in biblical times. We are living in biblical times. Today, then, is the day of repentance. Today is the day to seek the Lord. Today is the day to surrender to Jesus. This is Rob Palazewski for the History of the Future, signing off.